Live from the Northeast Comedy Cabaret, it's the Back to the Humor Show.
Hey, another interview and back to you. We're here with the great Andy Nolan, the best comedians of Philly, along with Simply D and John Rice. This guy's gonna be helping me out. So, like, how long have you been doing this stand-up comedy thing? A long time? Or?
About 10 years.
10 years vet.
10 years ago, yeah.
It's good. But like, where, like, I would say, like, do you write a lot? Like, cause you seem like you have very polished stuff.
I write a lot. That's why I got into it. I thought I'd just write jokes for.
What's your motivation? How do you write the jokes? Like, you read the papers?
I read the papers. I just observe shit. I got kids.
Everything you can think about.
A wife. I got a job. I got other stuff, and that's what drives it.
What does your wife think about your comedy? How does she?
She doesn't like all the jokes that I do. A lot of them at her expense. I
think we all do those kind of jokes.
Some of them are real. Some of them are based on real shit. But But I got to say, she's like one of the best barometers. She knows a joke is good or not if I try it on her sometimes. And I always know when it's not a good joke, because if it's a good joke, she says, yeah, that's funny. And if it's not, she always says, try it. Try that. And when she says, try it,
instead of saying it's a bad joke.
Try it. It means it's not funny. Yeah. Let's see if somebody else thinks so. She's usually pretty good.
I know I've been doing comedy for 6.5, almost 7 years. And like you said, you've been doing it for about 10 years, a lot longer than me. Where'd you first start? What club did you start at?
I actually started right here in this club.
Yeah,
cool.
I started at 5, man. Same here.
So it had to be. It was a little bit different then, though.
I took a comedy class here, a writing class, before Pat O'Donnell.
Was it Jay Leno? Did he teach you that? Or?
It was not Jay Leno. No.
Was it Kevin James? Was that it?
No,
one of those guys?
Nobody famous.
Okay.
I came out and I was writing jokes, and that was the idea was I was just going to write jokes and submit them to somebody else to do. And the guy who owns the cabarets saw me and started giving me spots, and so that's where I started. The first set I ever did was here.
So did you feel that stand-up comedy class was helpful? Like, do you feel like it's more support?
Helpful. It doesn't make you funny.
Yeah.
You're either funny or you're not.
Yeah.
But it does help you learn
technique.
It helps you learn how the industry works and how to get gigs.
Maybe get a little more comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that. I've seen you do comedy a lot of times. I think you're like one of the much funnier than a lot of guys that do the cabaret, myself included. But no, what I wanted to ask you was, in that comedy class, I didn't take, but I watched Pat O'Donnell's class, and it was more so about structure, writing comedy. What do you think is more important, actually writing comedy or performing on stage?
Well, I got to say writing, because I consider myself a writer. I don't think I'm a good comedian. I think I'm a pretty good writer. But
I think we all disagree with that.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think. I see guys.
I think you feel that way.
You
like,
guys that are way more comfortable up there to seem more relaxed, and I just.
But you have a good voice. Like you have like a really strong voice.
Well, that comes from years of practice and getting on stage.
And I think you do well on stage, man. I really do.
Very well.
I think you do well.
Very good.
I think you are definitely.
I see some kids that are just starting out, and I'm like, they got more poise and more presence than I have on stage.
Well,
but I think
you do well. I think you do well, and I think your writing is unbelievable. You write some awesome material. I like it a lot. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. Maybe a little air, but.
Well, for myself, being a new comic, I think you two are actually like some of the, like, I just want to get there. Like I want to be able to do some of the shit that you two do.
But I think we kind of have different styles. You have some great jokes, but you have way better. Interaction with the audience.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
By the way, I was there the night that the chick came up and you put her. I was in the building that night.
Okay.
He does a great joke about.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were there that night. Yeah.
So you watch like you've been to a lot of open mics. What do you think like the main problem like new comedians have? Like, obviously it takes a while for you to get used to being on stage and all that stuff. Like, do you ever think to yourself, if you don't pull a comedian aside to help, it doesn't make you a selfish person. But as you know, most comedians, we don't pull each other aside and say, hey, you should do this, like Simply D does. But like, do you feel like
everybody's got different styles? But if there's anything, I see guys go up there and they think that if I say things in a funny way, it's funny. But if ultimately you don't saying something funny, you know,
But we-
not to
we-
last.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally
you
agree.
go up there and it's like, well, you're just yelling, I love
Yeah.
robots, and people are laughing, but it's, you know.
Yeah,
it's not a
I
joke,
totally
you know?
agree. It's not. You have to have actual jokes. Yeah, I totally agree because there's a lot of dudes that get on stage and they just say what they think is funny, and it's not necessarily funny. You know?
I was gonna say, like, now that you've been doing this for 10 years, would you have done anything differently when you first started? Like, do you look back and go, wow, when I first started, I should have did this more, or you know,
I
like,
don't think so, but again, I was kind of limited. I was already pretty old when I started. I already had kids and a wife and a house, and so it's, you know, if I was younger, I probably would have hit the road more, you know, maybe going to some, you know, New York or LA or something like that. But,
Are you a fan of watching comedy?
yeah, I love watching comedy. Actually, that's one of the biggest perks for me. I'm lucky to be in a position where I don't have to, you know, do shows I don't want to do. So I do shows because I enjoy it, because I have fun, because I like the people I'm doing the shows with.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about, you know, what the money is. You know, it's nice to get paid, but it's, you know, I go out to see other comedians. And I go to shows, you know, even if I'm not on the show. I try to sit through the open mics and, you know.
Yeah, who's your favorite
Watch
comic? Who
That's
inspired
exactly
you?
what I was about to ask. Him.
Yeah.
I like guys like Steve Martin and Stephen Wright and.
Steven Wright, yeah.
I think Stephen Wright is awesome. I like him a
I
lot.
love
Yeah,
him.
I like him. Yeah, I mean, of course, you
Little one-liners.
can't be a comedian. I think you can't be a comedian, especially guys our age, and not like Steve Martin. Steve Martin,
Martin.
yeah,
he
he's
was
great.
different, and
Yeah,
and what I liked about him was, you know, he's got funny jokes, but he was one of these guys that, you know, just did things that were so different than anybody else did. You know?
yeah, it's one-liner, very dry delivery.
Yeah, but then he would mix in juggling and banjo, and he would sometimes kick the crowd, and he would take them out of the club and into the street and do some shit with them, and it just did stuff that was just so, you know.
how you feel
Different
about
than
how you feel about Dan Cook?
I'm not a big fan, but you know, I think he's got some funny stuff. But he's an example of one that, you know, he's the way he delivers. You know, he's
It's very exciting.
people like his style, but I don't think
He's just going to be
one
his
of the
new
funniest
opener.
guys.
He just blacklisted the guy from a Dane Cook game. Like, thanks a lot.
No, you know what? Because
I don't know.
the issue I have
Okay.
with the issue I
I'm
have with
talking
Dan,
about different styles.
yeah, the issue I have with Dan Cook is I think he does have some funny material, but like I'm gonna compare him, and I know this is a weird comparison, to Bill Cosby, where Bill Cosby does stories and he gives you a lot of details in the stories and it's very funny. Dan Cook is almost the opposite. He does stories and he gives you a lot of detail, but I think
And a little
it's too
bit of
much. It's a little bit of funny and too much detail. You know, that's just my take on it. I think it's weird. Not that I don't like the guy.
He
you
must
know.
drink a lot of Red Bull.
Yeah.
He's very excited on
Yeah.
stage.
Excited,
That
huh?
boy be
Yeah.
hype.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he packs
All right, well, thank you so much for doing the
Yeah,
show. We
thanks.
get through this all day. The great
Parting
Andy Nolan.
question, if I may. Guest appearance by Rick Remote. Gentlemen,
Said it himself.
which of you has the bigger dick? I know both of you are packing right now. Which one? Which one?
I'd have to say that's this guy.
All right, we got to wrap it up. Thank you so much for doing the show, Andy
All right.
Nolan. The great Andy Nolan, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
These guys, after he was blowing up, word.